Let's talk about decisions because I think that decisions is by far one of the things that gets us in the most trouble, ironically. Now, when you listen to everything that I have to say, you'll understand what I mean by the irony of it all. Because the very nature of decisions is to decide on the best course of action, to decide on what you're going to do in order to get the best results possible for you. No one ever makes a decision to get the worst results, to decide on the worst course of action in order to get the worst possible results. That's not how we work. That's not how the mind works. The very nature of your mind is to solve a problem, is to come up with a solution, is to get the answer. And when we associate things like the ego, things like consciousness, all of those things, even though they may be opposite in nature, they still strive to achieve a goal, to get to someplace higher than where you are now, to evolve. Now, what I really want to get into is the inability to make a decision out of fear that you're going to make the wrong decision. Now, how do you know it's the wrong decision is my question. You can only decide one thing. Once you make that decision, you can never undecide it. You can never know what the alternative is. And because of that simple fact, it should be easy for us to make decisions. But for some reason, we live in a world where we tend to live in the past and we tend to look back on decisions that we have made and think that that was the wrong decision. We should have chosen something else. We should have decided something else when that is absolutely impossible to do. We cannot go back and change. And even if we could, you going back and changing a decision that you made could very well be the worst decision, that decision that you have already made. So we have to come to a space where we're no longer living in the past, thinking that the decision we made in the past results in something or a crappy life or something that we are experiencing now that we don't like, when in fact, it isn't the decision that makes the thing that you're experiencing now crappy. It's actually your perspective that is making the decision and the result crappy. Not the thing itself. It is your mindset. It is your perspective. Now, putting it all on your decision that you can no longer change is putting you in a position where you absolutely have no control. And you know, I'm all about speaking to you from a point of view of understanding that you have the most control. And now, for a lot of people, that can be difficult because control means responsibility. And for some people, they perceive control as taking fault or blame. And I think that's just ridiculous, to be honest. Though I can understand the point of view, I think it's a little bit twisted to think if you have absolute control over your life and who you are, that you then are to blame for all the things that goes wrong, when in fact it's the total opposite. When you have absolute control over everything, then there's no longer about blame. It's simply about empowering you to move forward in life and to make sure that as you apply and go through life, you are mindful about the decisions you make. You are grateful that you are able to make those decisions, and you just simply keep moving forward with the intention of making the best decisions possible. You could have decided something else. Somebody else may have made that decision, and they seem to be on top because of it. But honestly, you're not them, and you don't really know the truth behind that decision. They may be just acting like they're on top of the world because they made the decision that they made. Nonetheless, it's not about projecting and putting yourself in somebody's shoes and thinking that you can live the life that they live because they're not you. But back to the essence of this. Your decisions are just simply things that you decide to the best of your ability to advance you through life, to allow you to expand who you are, to explore and unfold your consciousness, to absolutely be the truth of who you are. When you make a decision, understand there is no wrong decision. There is only the decision. Whatever comes from that decision is always the opportunity to grow. There's always the opportunity to learn. There's always the opportunity to blossom. But you must own that fact. If you are making decisions and you're constantly in a state of thinking that your decision was wrong, you will never reap the benefits of making that decision. So instead of living in the past of thinking that a past decision was the wrong decision or may have been the wrong decision, you are absent from your current moment, from life itself at this moment. And when you are absent from that existence, then you cannot make rational, well-planned, or well-thought-out decisions currently. The point is, don't live in the past, don't live in the future with your decisions and thinking, maybe I'm going to make the wrong decision. Just make a decision. When you make a decision based off the information that you think is best for you and to get the results that you think are best for you, trust in your process. Trust in your mind, your thought process, and your intuition. And once you do that, you will ultimately be led to the path of opening up yourself to enlightenment, to bliss, to happiness, fulfillment, whatever you want to call it. But you have to trust in that your decision, no matter which way you go, is the best decision. And when you have that mindset, moving forward is a breeze. Moving forward is joyful, right? You're not filled with doubt or questioning. You're just simply filled with optimism and joy. So continue to make your decisions based on the fact that you trust yourself. And remember, the alternative is not something you can experience in the first place. So therefore, you can never know. Just decide. Keep moving forward. Everything will happen and work itself out in perfect order. Thank you so much. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.